This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
People might think that my life looks fine, but the truth is I and so many other Black people have to deal with racism all the time.
That means that white people get an advantage that they didn't earn, and Black people get a disadvantage that they don't deserve.
No, sorry, you don't deal with racism all the time, and there are no advantages or disadvantages with skin color in America. We don't need Barbie telling white kids that they should be ashamed of their skin color, and we don't need Barbie telling Black kids that their skin color is a disability. We live in America, the most free and equal country on the planet. Everyone in America is privileged to be here. Yes, there are some people in America that are more privileged than others, but that's based on money, not skin color. Stop blaming all your problems on the color of your skin and instead get up and work for what you want.
Everyone in America liked the election a lot, but Sleepy Joe and his friend Kamala, oh, they did not. Biden hated the election the whole campaigning season, and please don't ask me, only he knows the reason. It could be perhaps that his mask was too tight. It could be he couldn't form a sentence quite right. But I think the most likely reason of all were the crowds at his rallies were simply too small. Despite his hatred for the proceeding, he couldn't ignore that Trump seemed to be leading. Then he thought of an idea which made him truly grin. He must rig the election in order to win. So he called all the states where he was losing and told them to double the Biden votes they were producing. Votes for every living, breathing animal. Votes for every person dead. We must make this country blue instead of this awful-looking red. But Trump was still doing good. Biden had to stop him somehow. Then he remembered his son Hunter had some friends from Moscow. So he made some quick calls, and just like that, there were found 138,000 Biden ballots sitting there on the ground. He was finally satisfied after all that drama, so he got on his knees and thanked Lord Obama.
I can't take it anymore. I'm tired of old white men controlling this country and racist cops destroying the Black community. Well, I got some news for you. Don't tell me Donald Trump won. I can't take any more bad news this year. No. It's good news. We just elected an old white man who used to be a segregationist. Really? Yeah. And it gets better. His vice president is a prosecutor who made her career on locking up Black people for victimless crimes and even laughed about it. You mean it? Yeah, I'm serious. And you still won't get free healthcare. Oh my gosh. Everything is fixed now.
Products that need to be canceled immediately. First up, cane sugar may seem seemingly innocent, but upon further inspection, granulated white. Why did they have to say it was white? Next up, big sexy hairspray. Once again, society objectifying and sexualizing women to their unrealistic beauty standard expectations. You know what? No, canceled. We got toothpaste, Crest 3D. You guessed it, white. Nice going, Crest. Way to assume that white teeth are better than other color teeth. Canceled. Tampons, and you know what? This goes for all feminine hygiene care brands and products. Bold of you to not make hygiene products for the other 72 genders. Canceled. All Aussie hair care products. You see that kangaroo? Way to feed into stereotypes. Now we got Oreos. Oh, big whoop. Milk's favorite cookie. You know what? Every cookie deserves a trophy. You're canceled.
Premature babies are routinely given pain relief who are born at the same age as babies who are torn limb from limb or injected in the heart during abortions. The World Health Organization goes so far as to recommend pain relief for preemies getting a simple heel stick to draw a couple of drops of blood. Anesthesia for babies being operated on even in, quoting, the middle of pregnancy. Meanwhile, babies of an identical age are torn apart during abortions with no pain relief. It must be that some people inexplicably think that the abortion provides a firewall against fetal pain, or that babies marked for abortion are somehow numb, while their wanted counterparts aren't. This thinking is better suited for the Middle Ages than for modern medicine.
White people face more racism today than I do as a minority. They can't say anything that disagrees with BLM, the media, or the mob without being called a white supremacist. They're discriminated against in situations like medical school. Brown and black people have the highest acceptance rates, even with considerably lower GPAs. They actually get killed the most by police, and they get told that you can't be racist towards white people. Minorities need to stop blaming white people. Stop having a victim mentality and maybe your life will change. I had a victim mentality, and guess what? It did nothing. It made me feel like, oh, no matter how hard I try, the white person's always going to be ahead because of white privilege. White privilege is not real. Stop having a victim mentality and work hard.
So I'm going to share something that recently just angered me. Recently, I watched a live by this woman named Bevelyn Beatty. I believe that's how you say her name, but in this live, she's visibly in the hospital. And she explains that she ended up in the hospital because she went out one night with a group of people to support Trump. And being the religious Christian that she is, she did not go out that night to cause any trouble. However, she saw an old man who happened to be a Trump supporter being harassed out of nowhere by a group of black teenagers who happened to be Black Lives Matter supporters. And so she went to defend this man who was clearly vulnerable and defenseless, and it unfortunately led her to being attacked by these black teenagers and stabbed, when all she did was talk to these teenagers. And so I'm reading the comments under this live, and they're just, some of these comments are disgusting and just rude. And that's what's happening right now. Trump rallies are going on, and you have these liberals coming to these Trump rallies and starting trouble with these Trump supporters. And all the media is showing is the Trump supporters fighting back. It's just another reason why I can't side with liberals, because they believe in unjustified abuse and violence.
There is no such thing as pro-choice Christians. You are either for the killing of babies or you're against the killing of babies, because you cannot tell me that you're in a relationship with the living God, the same God who says that he abhors those who are quick to shed innocent blood, the same God who says light and darkness cannot mix, the same God who says no man can serve two masters, for he will love one or hate the other. You cannot claim to be in a relationship with the living God and still claim something that is so against God's heart. And so you tell me you're pro-choice and you're a Christian, you're not. Because when you're pro-choice, you're choosing what mankind has deemed all right over what the living God has said is wicked. You die. You're going to stand before the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the holy and righteous judge, and you're going to have to give account for what you did on this earth based on what came out of his mouth, not what mankind has deemed acceptable.
You want to know something really weird about this election? This is what's called a down ballot election, meaning you have a leader of a party, aka a presidential candidate. And then below them you have senators, you have representatives, my apologies. You have senators, representatives, you have your local listings, your local candidate races and stuff like that. A down ballot election, almost always you'll see if I'm voting a Republican president, I will down ballot, meaning the Republican president is at the top of my ballot. I'll check Donald Trump or Joe Biden, and then I will follow that throughout the remaining election. It's a general election, so I'm either going to vote Democrat, or I'm going to vote Republican. Now, there is some discrepancy, obviously. There's like a 5-10% switch every now and then. How did Joe Biden win the presidency with this many votes? Yet we kept the Republicans, we kept the Senate, and gained in the House on a down ballot election. Why are those votes not going to the Democrats?
I was going through what I have to do for history, and look at this worksheet that I have to do. I have to watch a movie about what Black Lives Matter is. Here are some questions that I will just answer right off the bat. Explain the Black Lives Matter response to critics who claim that people should instead say all lives matter. Asian people, Hispanics, okay? A lot of police brutality against them, but you don't hear them talking about it. It's just about black people, because black people have probably the worst history in American history. And all lives do matter, not just a specific group of people. And we're not oppressed, and we're not victims. Maybe a small percent of the population shouldn't be committing over fucking half the crimes in the United States. What are some problems that have happened during the protest that has brought some critics to the BLM movement? Protesting is a First Amendment right, but not looting, rioting, burning shit. You've accomplished nothing and brings nothing to your movement, no success. Liberal Colorado High School.
So I'm going to be talking about abortion again. As a lot of you know, a few years back I was raped, and I believe that rape might have resulted in a pregnancy and miscarriage, especially since there was a positive test. And yes, it still hurts me to this day, knowing that I might have been a mom back then, knowing that there's a chance that I lost my baby. It does not matter to me how horrible it was making that baby. It does not matter to me that I didn't have a choice. What matters to me is that baby's gone. Anyways, a common argument I hear on pro-choicers is when they say, well, what if a woman was raped? Sweetheart. Less than 1% of abortions are an actual result of rape. In fact, most rape victims I know chose life. Therefore, you are just proving that you are an absolute ass. You don't care about our pain. You care about justifying killing babies. You care about keeping that legal. Quit using my pain along with the pain of millions of others to justify your killing babies as a form of birth control. Because at the end of the day, it's not. None of it's okay. If you're so comfortable with abortion, own up to it. Don't use my pain to justify it.
Breaking news, Donald J. Trump, aka COVID super spreader, continues to hold his rallies containing thousands of people, putting their lives at risk. Now, does that sound like a responsible president to you? Look at this, folks. We're here live as hundreds of thousands of Biden supporters show up to the streets of New York City in celebration of Joe Biden winning the presidency. I mean, what a beautiful sight. Look at that now. They're hugging and kissing and drinking after each other. It's just a beautiful sight to see everybody unified again. You know what I mean, folks? After 4 years of President Donald Trump trying to break us all apart, look at them all there. Oh, there's even a couple having sex. What a beautiful sight to see. I'll be darned.
Just a quick reminder that it's not just politics, it's not just the economy, it's my life.
Lord bless your heart, you know absolutely nothing about politics. Super cool, crazy fun fact, there's this thing called checks and balances that you learn in 8th grade history, and it's where no one can take away your rights, even if they tried. It's literally unconstitutional. And I don't know what you mean by just the economy. The economy is one of the most important things that we have in our society. It is the backbone to almost everything that we work with. I am honestly so incredibly embarrassed to be a part of Gen Z. Instead of putting up a camera and crying to it and trying to get people's empathy, go ahead and log off and go take a government class. I'm just as much as a woman as you are. No one's taking away our rights or anyone's rights because it's unconstitutional, no matter who wins the presidency. Toughen up, Snowflake.
Now, I'm a professional athlete and I've been one for most of my life, so I've always seen things through a sports lens. That makes Donald Trump our head coach. And before the global pandemic, we were winning Super Bowls. And when you're winning Super Bowls, you don't fire the coach. Doesn't matter if you don't like the plays he runs, the players he puts on the field, or what he says on Twitter. You sure as hell don't replace him for another coach that's been in the business for 47 years at every level and never won a fucking game.
Okay, I actually get this comment a lot, and I actually find it really funny, because I really don't look like a Trump supporter, and anytime anyone finds out that I'm a Trump supporter, they're kind of taken back. In 2016, I didn't know much about politics. I wanted Trump over Hillary just because it's Hillary, and I started looking into politics more in 2017-ish. And I looked into liberal politics, honestly. I would have considered myself a liberal for a really long time, and I'm going to be honest about that. I even went to a Juneteenth celebration hosted here in Utah. Here's my poster. This is my quote. Before I did my research on Black Lives Matter, I definitely supported Black Lives Matter. So yeah, what happened was I probably went in like a 2-month spurt of just straight up looking Trump information and Biden information, and really just found as much stuff on them as possible. I wasn't even a fan of Trump. People have DM'd me many times asking why I switched, and I give them an answer every time I tell them straight up. I feel like we should probably just stop pretending we know who people are.
Y'all, check this shit out. Here's what it looks like, okay? This is the states. Let's go to the county map, all right? This is 2020, okay? Red everywhere. Blue is obviously the stupid fuck. And like these little tan colors on my computers was Trump's winning. All over here. Little blue. But check this shit out. You go to the 2020 map, or not 2020, the 2016 map. Tell me what fucking changes. Other than the complete map. Tell me what changes. The white looking is Trump. What changes? What changes? Nothing. How is he losing?
Okay, I think I just gotta say it. Please explain to me the thought process behind why you're justified in forcing people to wear masks. Because there's a worldwide pandemic and you could get sick and die. Okay, you're right, I could get sick. Did you ever think that you couldn't get sick by going outside before the pandemic? Well, no, but you could actually die now. And you couldn't before? No, but you're higher risk. Actually, I disagree. The only category that's considered at risk is elders with pre-existing health conditions. For goodness sakes, our 75-year-old president recovered just now, and he's been doing 3 rallies a day for the past week or so. Okay, well, you could be carrying the virus, and you could be asymptomatic and pass it to somebody who's susceptible and kill them, and then it's your fault. How is that my fault? I could have sneezed in Disneyland 10 years ago, and some little old lady passes by where I just sneezed 15 seconds after me, and then gets my germs in her, and then she gets sick and dies, and I would have never known. Life happens, and people are gonna die. That's called natural selection, or fate, or life.
Do you believe in racism conversion therapy?
Wait, what is
I can tell you what it is.
Please.
Yeah, I can tell you what it is. Basically, what this says is that certain white people, we have to identify them in some way in public. So, like, they would have, like, a gold star or something like that. We, as black people, get to kind of treat them like they treat us. We would treat those certain people like shit. We basically treat them like shit. Would you support something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's fair.
Yes.
It's totally fair. Yeah. Okay, would you wear a gold star?
No.
You wouldn't. Wait, hold on. You don't think you have white privilege?
No, we definitely do.
Okay, so if you have white privilege, why wouldn't you just, sign up for that?
I thought this was only the people that are racist.
Well, no, this is people that voluntarily sign up for it.
Oh, then I would wear a gold star.
You wear a gold star? And you'd let, like, black people treat you like shit for just a little bit just because, I mean, it's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Cool. What do you think of the Fetal Redistribution Act?
I don't think I've heard of that.
Okay, so basically, they found that aborted fetuses are, like, nutritious. So, because of, like, shortage in food at shelters and things like that, they're trying to pass a bill that basically takes fetal parts and they mix it with, like, ground beef and then they send it to, like, food shelters.
Do you agree with it?
I think that there's validity to that. Yeah, I believe that it's just a clump of cells. If it happens to be nutritious, and if we're just going to throw it away anyway, to me it makes logical sense to do. What do you think?
I mean, it seems like it'd be kind of nasty, but, like, it seems like nutritious, I guess, like you said. Like, it seems like a good thing if it's good for people.
If they are going to pass it, the food shelters are not going to be required to disclose to, like, the people coming in for food that there is, like, fetal tissue in there. But I don't really see a big deal with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Biden. I think he's a better person. Why? Because what's going on now in the situation with Trump. What Trump situation? What's going on now? Shit just fucked up. I believe he could come in and do a better job.
You asked me why I'm voting for Trump. Before Trump was the president, did not everybody love him? In their music videos, rap videos, all the magazines. He got awards from black communities in the NAACP. Everybody loved him. But then when he came to president, they said he's a racist. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because when he came into politics, he started what he said, drain the swamp. He started taking out all the not just politicians, the evil, corrupt politicians. Fired them, took them out. The economy has been better than it ever been. Unemployment at an all-time low. People talk about the wall. Why are you voting?
This clip of Trump, and they're like, oh my god, he's totally mocking a reporter with a disability. But he's not. Here's the clip people claim that he's mocking somebody who's disabled in.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's gonna like, I don't remember. I had the all day what I said.
And that would be pretty bad. Except, this is kind of something that Trump does. You know, when he goes like that, or just little things that people do. Sometimes I talk like this. You know, we all have little habits, speech patterns, that kind of stuff. That's what Trump was doing. Here's him doing it on multiple occasions, a compilation, if you will. This wasn't specifically that person. He does this a lot. Interpret it how you want, but that is not what he was doing.
Oh, I don't want
And there's more examples, but those are just a few. Y'all just trying to find reasons to hate Trump. It's sad.
Some Trump accomplishments you probably didn't know about. Made animal cruelty a felony. Signed a bill making CBD and hemp legal. Gave $100 million to Flint, Michigan to fix their water infrastructure. Signed a law ending the gag order on pharmacists. Signed the Allow the States and Victims to Sign Sex Trafficking Act. Signed a bill that requires airports to have breastfeeding stations for nursing moms. Signed the Save Our Seas Act, which funds $10 million a year to cleaning up our oceans, even though China makes up 80% of it. Signed the biggest wilderness protection and conservation bill in over a decade, preserving 375,000 acres of land. Signed a bill allowing imports from Canada so that drug prices go down. Created a White House veteran hotline. The First Step Act. Executive order expanding apprenticeship opportunities for students and workers. Finalized a new trade agreement with South Korea. 8,764 communities have been designated as opportunity zones. Signed the 9/11 victims' compensation into law. Has lifted 3.9 million Americans off of food stamps since his election in 2016. Secured $6 billion in funding to help fight the opioid epidemic.
Honey, what? No. Let me get this straight. Kamala Harris puts on a bedazzled rainbow-colored vest and rolls around the streets in a car for a little while, and she's gay rights. But Trump launches a globalized campaign designed specifically to decriminalize homosexuality in countries all across the world. Creates a program that gives out free medicine designed specifically to help people who are either at risk to HIV and AIDS or have HIV and AIDS all the way up until the year 2025. Appoints an openly gay ambassador. Appoints an openly gay judge to the Circuit Court of Appeals. And appoints a lesbian to the bench. Literally says in one of his rallies after a huge massacre saying he will do everything in his power to protect the LGBTQ community. And somehow not gay rights.
Abortion is murder. Both guys and women can talk on this. Not just women, because it takes two to make a baby. A popular response that people say for pro-choice is that my body, my choice. It's a different soul in you. It's a different soul that Jesus created in you. It's not your body. It's in your body, but it's not your body. Second of all, I don't have enough money to take care of it. Put it up for adoption. You say it's gonna have a worse life. Who knows? What if he finds Jesus? What if the baby finds Jesus and becomes a disciple, and you're just gonna take that away? This is Jesus' opinion on abortion, which is all that matters. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "For I knew you from the womb and before the womb, and I created in your mother's stomach." Jesus said that he has a perfect and beautiful plan for all of us. You get no right to decide if the baby dies or not. So Jesus is pro-life. In Exodus 20:13, Jesus commands us, "Do shall not murder." The world needs to stop killing innocent babies because it's a beautiful soul God created.
I just heard something in one of my classes about abortion that completely blew my mind because I never really thought of it this way. And I hope a lot of people use this in their pro-choice arguments. And if you're pro-life, I hope you could take a step back and maybe this will change your mind. I don't know. Abortion was never illegal until the 1860s. And what else happened in the 1860s? Slavery was abolished.
So she claims with no evidence that ex-slave owners wanted to ban abortion so they could have larger families. Now, first of all, how would that change my mind on the ethicality of abortion? This isn't a good argument because this is not the reasoning we use today. Even if you were right, this changes nothing. And you're not right. I have an actual source. So at this time, abortion was illegal after the quickening. That's when the mother felt things like kicks. That's when the average person believed life began. And doctors were the ones who led the pro-life movement because they knew that wasn't true. They knew it was human beings dying. It was also feminists who helped lead the pro-life movement, like Susan B. Anthony.
I just heard something in one of my classes.
Because in this country, it takes more courage to be gay than to fight in the military.
How the fuck did you make that video and actually think that you made a good fucking point?
Listen, man, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what you have or haven't experienced. But how the fuck are you gonna compare being gay in America to going to fucking war? Let me tell you something, kid. I have 3 uncles that served in the Navy for 20 years. They've all been on a variety of different ships where they saw combat in the middle of the fucking ocean. My grandpa lied about his age so he could join the fucking army and fight in Vietnam. I've heard stories of the shit they had to see and do, and it's fucking atrocious. But guess what? If it wasn't for them doing the shit that they did, you wouldn't have the right to go out in the fucking streets and protest and identify as whatever fucking pronouns you want. And you say it takes more courage to be gay. I don't see you having the courage to join. You ain't got the courage to go through any of our boot camps and do what we fucking do. So just shut your fucking mouth and have some goddamn respect for the people that fight for your fucking freedom.
Pick me, Massa.
Y'all are so funny to me. I'm gonna explain why this video is so funny to me. If you think about a lot of the states and cities that have high Black American populations, like California, places like Chicago, Michigan, they're run by Democrats. And the African American populations there are doing very poorly. I lived in California, I lived in LA for about 1.5 years, and the majority of the homeless people I saw were Black Americans. So please tell me how voting blue for the past 50 years has done anything for the Black community. How has that helped you? Right? So who's the real pick-me if you continue to vote for people who tell you they're going to fight for you, and then they don't do anything? You're going to go vote for Joe Biden, who signed the 1994 crime bill and hurt African Americans. You're going to go vote for Kamala Harris, who put a bunch of Black Americans in jail on petty weed crimes and left an innocent Black man in jail for 6 years? Really, who's the real pick-me here, guys?
1994, when he did such harm to the Black community, and he called them super predators, and they have never lived that down.
Answer that is, I never ever said what he accused me of saying.
If I don't want to ask, they must be taken off the street. A cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
White people attempted to colonize 99% of the world. White people are the reason racism exists. White people are the reason climate change exists. White people are the demise of humanity.
For real, guys, please do not send this girl any hate because I'm not actually sure she's mentally all there. But nevertheless, I'm still going to debunk this. White people tried to colonize 99% of the world. Have you generally not heard of the Japanese Empire, the Mongolian Empire, the African empires, the Iranian Empire, the Ottoman Empire? This isn't unique to white people. We also didn't create racism. Racism has been in India since 1500 before Christ. And lastly, the statement, white people created climate change, I actually think is quite a racist statement to say within itself, because it's implying that if it wasn't for white people, the rest of the world wouldn't have had the intuition to develop technology, which is quite racist.
So if you think all Black people are oppressed and a Black person tells you I'm not oppressed and you get angry, that's because you're a racist and you think all Black people are the same. So if you think that me being Black means that I'm having the same experience as, let's say, Malia Obama or Sasha Obama, who grew up in incredibly privileged circumstances, it's because you're a racist. That's it. It's that simple. You're a racist. If you can't understand why all Black people don't think alike and you get angry when a Black person doesn't think the way you think they're supposed to think, it's not because you care about Black people. It's because you're a racist and you're a narcissist and you really think that Black people exist to make you feel good about yourself. So if you're out there and you're pounding your fist and you're saying Black Lives Matter and Black people need to be heard, and then somebody shares a Candace Owens video and you go, oh, not that kind of Black person, then you don't actually care about what Black people think or what experiences Black people are having.
I mean, I suppose he hasn't
I'm trying to think specifically come out and said anything. I'm trying to think off the top of my head racist about African Americans. I suppose I'm thinking more about he won't denounce the white supremacists.
He's denounced white supremacy over 20 times now. It's on video.
I would disagree with that
strongly. You can't disagree with
Stand by.
the things that you're telling me are lies. He's denounced white supremacy on film over 20 times. I've met him personally 3 times. He hasn't been racist to me. I know family members who've known him for over 40 years. Wasn't racist to them. Slapping the term, oh, this is racist, so that's racist, it kind of boils down racism in a way. Like, why I get called a racist, and it's absurd.
The words are there, but I don't see the action, and I don't believe anything he says because he's just a liar. I mean, I cannot support anybody that lies. The publicity stunts, the things like that.
Lies that he has said.
It's been so many, I can't even name them all. I mean, but it's
Can you name me one?
One lie.
So freaking done with all of the hypocrisy from liberals. So according to them, COVID exists at Trump rallies and Trump events like the march going on in DC right now, but it doesn't exist at BLM protests and celebration of Biden's big win. They say not to judge someone by their skin color, yet they make fun of Trump for being orange. Obviously that's not a race thing, that's just a bad spray tan thing, but they're still doing what they're saying not to do. They preach my body, my choice, but then when it comes to masks, suddenly that doesn't matter anymore, and you're just considered selfish if you decide not to wear one. Which brings me to my next point, which is their argument is always that not wearing a mask could kill an innocent person, yet they're okay with abortion, which also kills an innocent person. They claim to want unity and equality, yet they continue to treat Trump supporters like garbage just because we don't have the same political views as them. Governor Newsom is trying to limit the amount of family that you can have around during the holidays, yet he was just at a party that violated his own rules. Don't you think there would come a point that it would just be tiring?
So you're saying that abortion is not murder because the fetus is not alive, right? Yeah, that's right. Alright, so tell me, do you have a heartbeat? Yeah. Alright, and what happens when your heart stops? You die? So you can agree with me that in order to be alive, you need to have a heartbeat, right? I mean, yeah, I guess, sure. Okay, now that we've agreed on that, can you take a look at the screen for a second? Whatever. Alright, so according to Mayo Clinic, at just 4 weeks after conception, the heart and other organs also are starting to form, and the heart begins to beat at 4 weeks after conception. Okay, so? Well, didn't you just agree that you need a heartbeat in order to be alive? Fetuses' hearts start beating 4 to 6 weeks after conception, so wouldn't that make them alive? Well,
I feel Joe Biden put his hands on my shoulders, get up very close to me from behind, lean in,
Got a lot of things to get out here.
smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head.
hey, don't even start. Oh, no, we don't have to talk about the election. We don't have to talk about it? Well, yeah, no, I know it's a sore subject right now. Right, because you can't own up to the fact that Trump cheated. What? Yeah, why else would he ask for the recounts? And he brought it to Supreme Court because he didn't get his way. No, actually, there was a lot of signs pointing to fraudulent activity, and that's why he did that. There was no fraudulent activity. There was no voter fraud. I mean, the recount and everything kind of proves that there was. Right. He rigged it. How would he have rigged it? I don't even want to talk to a sexist, racist, homophobic white girl. You just don't want basic rights for humans. Yeah, and you hate the LGBTQ community and you hate black people. I can't do this for another 4 years.
3 facts about the Republican Party that many people may not know about.
Number 1. Republicans give more to charity than Democrats do, regardless of their household income. Now, this actually makes sense when you think about the differences between the political parties. The Democratic Party believes in more government involvement when it comes to solving issues like homelessness or poverty, whereas the Republican Party believes in less government involvement, but more involvement from the community, hence why they give more. Number 2. Republicans are much more likely to date or make friends across their political party line. Almost 50% of Republicans said that they would be willing to date someone who's from a different political party, while only 39% of Democrats could say the same. Number 3. Now this is a big one. Republicans are much more likely to vote with love, whereas Democrats are much more likely to vote with hate. This in the last presidential election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Many Republicans voted for Donald Trump because they loved him and his policies, whereas many Democrats voted for Joe Biden only because they hated Donald Trump.
I'm mad at Donald Trump, he took 4 years from me.
Y'all know you haven't lost any rights these past 4 years. I'm a black woman in America. I haven't lost any rights. I have LGBTQ friends. They haven't lost any rights. So, someone, please answer me. Why is everyone spewing this lie that Donald Trump somehow is going to take away people's human rights? When the reality is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, during their time in politics in America, have actually taken away people's rights. So someone explain to me how Donald Trump is the worst option and how he's the one who's going to take away your rights when in the past 4 years as president, he hasn't taken away anyone's rights. And now y'all want to vote for people who have been in politics for a long time and while they were in politics actually did stuff that took away people's rights. Someone explain that.
What does he do? Supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cents to 20 cents. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump.
Oh, okay. So I think I get it. So you, as a white woman, are telling a black man that in order to be black, he needs to have your opinion and cannot think on his own. Yeah, how about instead, you white liberals shut up and let black people make up their own minds on what they want to do, huh?
I'm so happy we finally got the orange man out of office. Well, aren't you worried about the economy and the taxes? No, he's only going to be taxing the rich. Well, you know that Chick-fil-A, Nike, Adidas, they all make over $400,000. And? Well, they make over $400,000 a year and they're going to be taxed over half that income. That's going to make them raise the prices for all their products double or even triple. And then soon enough, they're not going to be able to pay their employees and probably go out of business.
Hello, Rebecca. You are live on the show. How are you?
Rebecca Biden. I love
Okay.
you know that Trump kicked out. Did you know that Trump kicked out One Direction because they didn't take a picture with his niece? And also, did you know that?
Okay.
Isn't that horrible?
I don't care.
Oh, that's horrible.
I don't care.
If that happens, that Trump should not be voted for. He should be dead. Honestly, Biden is so hot, and honestly, literally, honestly, he's mine, to be honest. Okay? And honestly, and I think kids under 5 years old should be able to vote. Do you agree?
I think people who are on drugs shouldn't be allowed to.
First of all, I didn't want my page to be political, but if you're going to comment things like this on posts that have nothing to do with politics, then two can play that game. Just in case anyone isn't aware, Donald Trump has been president for 4 years and none of your human rights have been taken away. And if you're talking about ACB, have you ever heard of checks and balances? Because if not, maybe you should take a government class. Are you saying that Donald Trump is homophobic? The man that launched a global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality across the whole entire globe? Are you saying that Donald Trump is racist, like he hasn't donated millions and millions of dollars to help black communities while BLM is sitting there burning them down? And are you talking about it like Joe Biden hasn't said that you can't walk into a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' without a slight Indian accent, among other racist statements? Not to mention Joe Biden supported segregation. Donald Trump has created more jobs than there are people to fill them, which includes bringing women's unemployment to an all-time low. And I don't agree with abortion because everyone is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you don't like that, you know where the door is. It's people like you that made me switch from being a Democrat to a Republican. Have a nice.
A police precinct has been overrun here in the nation's capital. The Lincoln Memorial and the World War II Memorial have been vandalized. One of our most historic churches was set ablaze. A federal officer in California, an African-American enforcement hero, was shot and killed. These are not acts of peaceful protest. These are acts of domestic terror. The destruction of innocent life and the spilling of innocent blood is an offense to humanity and a crime against God.
If you think that Trump killed 200,000 people during this pandemic, you are a part of the problem. Portland has been protesting for Black Lives Matter for over 150 days straight. And you guys threw a huge celebration for Biden winning. If you think a few people not wearing masks in stores is what's getting people sick and not 150 days straight of hundreds of thousands of people protesting, then you're stupid. Not only are you creating worse living conditions for the people in those cities during a pandemic, you are spreading it. And if you're gonna blame Trump for the 200,000 deaths, then you better give him credit where credit is due. The United States has conducted 65 million more tests globally than any other nation. The president acted under the Defense Act over 30 times to ensure that we have proper health care. Nobody in the United States has gone without a ventilator. Trump wrote a proposal for a second stimulus bill, and the Democrats won't push it through. We were projected to have 4 times the fatality rate than we did. And one more thing, where were y'all when the swine flu was out and it was under Obama and Biden?
This nation has no clue what law enforcement faces on a day-to-day basis.
We look upon them with the belief that they only protect us from immediate danger.
What you may not consider is the strength and courage it takes for them to get out of bed every single morning.
They don't want another 8-year-old child dying in their arms because the CPR has failed to resuscitate them.
They dread having to cut another teenager down from a rope in their closet and comfort mourning parents.
Some of us will never understand the struggle of making a split-second decision involving someone else's life.
Having to distinguish if a suspect has a weapon and facing the sometimes life-altering consequences that follow actions that all happen within half a second.
Having to go home and silently relive every moment.
To all the law enforcement officers watching this, we thank you for everything you put yourselves through to protect us from the evil that lives in this world.
We love them, we respect them, and if need be, we will protect them, hell or high water.
Duet and share this video. Let's blow this up and make sure they know we got their 6.
Vikings was walking around with edges and frontals and braids.
You're talking a lot of mess with somebody with their stitches and duets off. Vikings have braids, dreads, and locks. End of discussion. And dreads and locks are just matted hair so anybody can have them. You're right, they weren't slicking down their edges, but neither were black folks. This trend was started in America by actress Rita Hayworth, which was her white name. She was originally named Margarita Carmen Cancino and was a Hispanic woman. She got the idea of slicking her edges and baby hairs back to pass as a white woman in the 1930s. And then the style was adapted into the Chola culture, meaning this is a Mexican-American hairstyle technique. But black people have been passing this off as black culture, right? Sounds a lot like black people just
Colonize that shit.
5 hard-to-swallow pills for Gen Z. Yes, I'm aware that I was born in the Gen Z era, but I do not relate to 99% of you guys. Let's go. First up, we got the fact that being straight or religious does not make someone homophobic. This means that we have certain beliefs, certain preference. The definition of homophobic is having a straight-up hatred for gay people. Even if we don't agree with your lifestyle, even if we do, guess what? 9% of the time, we don't have an issue with you. Second, we got that dresses are not masculine. Definition of masculinity is qualities or looks that are traditionally associated with men. So big muscles, beards, dirty hands. Those are all traditionally associated with men. Dresses, however, traditionally associated with women. Therefore, they are not masculine. In line, we got picking on someone's looks is not a valid argument. It just makes you look childish and stupid. Fourth, life begins conception. Therefore, abortion is murder. I have science to back me up on that. So when you consent to having sex, you consent to getting pregnant. And fifth and finally, because someone has a differing opinion than you, does not make them a bad person. Just because someone supports someone you do not make them a racist, a homophobic, etc. Or just childish and petty and need to grow up. Ready for the hate. Peace.